Hello and welcome to Critic Interviews, my interview show where I invite MLP analysts, reviewers and other such titles, and I ask them questions and they answer them. I don't have a co-host this time. Well, that's not important. My guest for this interview is Past Analysis. Say hello.
Hello, what's up?
Not much. Yay, conversation.
Yay, yay.
Let's get on to the questions, shall we?
Yeah.
First question: how did you become a brony? How did you start becoming? How did you? Yeah, how did you become a brony, basically?
Uh, yeah, 1 second. I just wanted to let you guys know that this isn't my microphone quality. This is a headset I'm using. Good one, but, it's long story short, I don't have my microphone with me right now. But for the question, got into MLP about early 2012. A friend of mine was telling me all about it, and of course, back in the day, I did not believe him. I thought he was pretty crazy. He would tell me all sorts of things at lunch about how great the show was, and I for the most part, just kind of, I listened, but I didn't take most of what he said seriously, and I say, oh yeah, I'm gonna check out the show eventually. I never did. And then one day he got smart and he brought his iPhone in and he showed it to me at lunch. And when I watched it, what he showed me was Return of Harmony Part 1, the Season 2 opener. And I only was able to see like the first 10 minutes of it, but it got me interested. At first I didn't want to admit it. I really, really didn't want to admit it, because what happened was, like 10 minutes in, then another one of my friends came in, who was, completely like, oh, this is so silly, so stupid. So I played it up as, oh yeah, it was stupid. It was just bad show, and I kept thinking about it for the rest of the day. And that weekend, I actually was going over to my cousin's place because of a little vacation trip I have every year. And so I told my cousin, like one of the first things I did was I told my cousin, oh, this stupid show, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And then he's like, what are you talking about? That's an amazing show. Me and tons of my friends watch it. And I didn't have a rebuttal. So I thought about it for the rest of that day. I decided to, and I finally decided to watch the first episode like late that night. I think it was actually my 3-year anniversary is coming up soon. It was like January. I think it was like January 16th, maybe. Yeah, January 16th. I think that's the day that January 16th, 2012 is when I got into it. And for that whole weekend, that was like the week right before midterms. And I ended up watching everything that was currently out up to that point, which in total was, I think, 41 episodes. Because I watched all of season 1 and up to the latest episode at the time, which was Baby Cakes. And it I watched all of them out of order, so I didn't really have a sense of season as I did this. Like Lesson Zero was one of the first episodes I watched, and I did it like that. And afterwards, I was kind of in. That was sort of the start of my brony passion, and gradually it would rise. And by sort of December 2012, that's when I finally decided to make my analysis channel. So, yep.
Very interesting. Usually I don't get very long stories about how people started to watch the show. Usually just get like a couple of word answers. So yeah, that was a very, very helpful answer.
Yeah. Kind of typical brony tale of how you thought it would be crazy and then you ultimately ended up watching a lot of it in one straight go.
Everyone listening to this, look forward to when I get interviewed, which will be half past never. Next question. What would you say is your favourite episode of the show, and why?
Ooh, that's a nice question. A long answer, but a good question. Horsewarming Eve, I'd say, is my favorite episode. And I love that episode because I think it does a lot of really, really good things. I love the history that they set up. I think that it's a great sort of background or bedrock for the show's history, because something that I see often with the history of MLP is that people love to have it heavily incorporate Celestian Luna. And I sort of disagree with that, because to me, if you do that, then you make the history a lot less full. Because, like, say that, for example, George Washington still was around nowadays. I mean, it's a completely ridiculous notion, but if he did, then it would feel like America's history is less. It takes up less time because the person who created it is still alive. So, having sort of the base of Equestria, having sort of the foundation of how Equestria was founded, be from other ponies, likely before Celestia and Luna came to power, I thought that was a great sort of touch. And I just kind of think that the story that they told, it definitely is something that I can buy for, like, Equestria. That the theme of it kind of really goes along with the show of, I remember one of the lines Clover the Clever said in it, it was, played by Twilight, was because we'll turn to stone, we'll be frozen because we were foolish enough to hate, or something like that. And I think it goes along with the show. I also kind of just thought that the format that they used to tell the history was pretty good, because, I mean, they had one episode, 22 minutes, to tell an entire sort of foundation of Equestria, and the way they did it leaves a lot of room for complexity, because they did it as a play. So that means that, like, we already know that plays kind of simplify certain elements of a story. So you can easily kind of use our general understanding of how plays work to say that, all these things may have happened, but there's perhaps more complexity to it. It kind of gives a lot of room, historical room, to it, which I think is just great. And that would be my my sort of short explanation of why I love that episode so much.
If that's short, I don't want to hear the long version.
I may get around to doing it someday, so
I'd be actually very interested to see that. Hold on. Next question. What would you like to see in season 5? Is there anything particular you want to happen?
Oh, season 5. I haven't really thought much about season 5. Is there anything specific I want to happen? Not really. There's this kind of... I hope that they do something... I'm hopeful for, like, a general structure to the season as opposed to what we've encountered before. I'm not super hopeful for it, but I've seen the San Diego Comic-Con spoilers, and I kind of feel like they're maybe going for more of an adventure-ish series of arcs, and I'm fine with that. In fact, I think that it could be great for world building. My only concern is that they make sure to still keep a level of slice of life, because I feel like adventure arcs are pretty... They can easily be done poorly in a show like MLP, because if the whole point of an episode is just, okay, we have a mission and let's go do our mission, it doesn't really feel like MLP to me. MLP to me feels like the characters are learning something, that you're kind of having this interactionism between the characters, and that's why I love slice of life, is because you can really highlight that. But they've done good adventure arcs before. I think that like Dragon Shy was a good one. I would even say Dragon Quest was a good one. Because it's about the character. It's less about the adventure. I would even say that during Don't wasn't that bad of an adventure arc. I just had a couple beefs with it, but I think they can pull it off. It just if any if anything they've done in the past season shows me anything, it's that they have tons of potential to do both good and bad. They could make a incredibly bad season, or they could make an incredibly good season. Because season 4, to me, it was probably the most hit and miss that they've ever done for a season. It was really good when they hit, but it was kind of bad, like really, really bad when they missed. So the stakes are just kind of raised a little bit, I'd say, with the fourth season. Sorry for that also long explanation.
It's no problem. I always like to make these things as long as possible, so I actually feel like I'm providing something for people to listen to.
That's good. Well, then I'm doing everything you need.
Okay. I think I know I can guess this question based on several conversations with you. But who is your favourite pony and why?
Yes. My favorite pony or favorite character is Sons of Shimmer. I actually do have a script in the works on it, but I can give, like the Hearthwarming Eve thing, I can give a short explanation. But where do I start? I guess Sons of Shimmer, she's a character who her personality's interesting to me. Her past is very interesting to me. There's a lot that I want to kind of excuse me. There's a lot I want to a lot of depth I want to give to it. I went into the first movie with a lot of sort of just general understandings about MLP that really played into my love of her character. I mean, I'm hardly giving anything right now, just a warning. But I guess I'll give one little spoiler. There's four big things about Sons of Shimmer which I love her for: her past, her personality, the connections that she has to other characters, and her overall aesthetic persona, using that term Digi came up with so long ago. All those are sort of the big four reasons why, and there's a lot of explanation as to why each and every one of these things is important. But if I was to try to combine all of them together and get one cohesive thought, it would be that I'm most interested in Sunset Shimmer's character than I am any other character. I'm most interested in coming up with, who is she? What's some more things about her? How would I kind of progress this character more than any other one? I mean, I'd actually say that I don't relate to her very much at all. There's very little I relate to Sons of Shimmer for. In fact, prior to my love of Sons of Shimmer, my love was divided into three. It was AJ, Twilight, and Fluttershy, and it was all based on relatability. And then relatability, it just kind of took some back seats because, I started realizing other things that all the other main six had in common with me, and it kind of just weakened the reason, and it just left me being like, maybe relatability for me isn't the best reason for why I like a character that much. For why I should have a favorite character, I should say. that was rather long, but um, that was the most short, spoilery explanation I can give.
Well, I don't really have a favourite character in terms of, you know, objective sort of looking at character and saying, oh, these are the good things about the character and these are the things that we'd rather all just forget about. But, you know, I think there's more than just relatability for me about Fluttershy, but that obviously is for a video that I'm currently writing.
Oh, cool. I mean, yeah, to me, like, I understand relatability, but the thing that it always kind of, now it's a problem for me to use that as a justification is just that I feel like there are so many ways that the characters are relatable to me and they aren't relatable to me, and I think I've just kind of grown out of that type of favorite character love. Not as interested in that as much now.
Right. Well, next question. This is a more I want to say broad question. Why do you personally think that people watch My Little Pony if it's just a show for little kids?
That's a good question.
Yeah, basically, if it's just a show for little kids, why do people like it so much?
Well, it's very multifaceted. I think for starters, I don't really think that for bronies who have watched this show for a while, I don't know if we watch it like we would an ordinary, like, little girl show. I don't think we do, because I remember when I first started watching it that it definitely felt like I was watching a little girl show, but now I kind of don't feel like I am. It's reached that point where it's just a show to me. It's not a little girl show. It's not, I mean, it does have a lot of girl characters who do girly things, I guess, but I think that, like, I think there's a huge stigma around little girl shows, like how bad they are. And I mean, I'm not saying that isn't well warranted, but I think that stigma has kind of left our interpretation of MLP. Like, we don't have that stigma anymore. So when the show does mess up, of course we're going to grill it for it. That, for better or worse. I mean, it certainly has had better writing than other shows, but then you have to take into account that this is the internet time. You know, like, a lot of us managed to find the show not through TV, but through the internet. I don't think that the brony movement really would have launched at all if it wasn't for the internet. I don't think, because, like, the internet, you can go on, you can watch, like, a free episode of MLP on multiple different sites. There's a place, there's a space for bronies online that sort of almost like Equestria Daily. It sort of it like feeds into the narrative that MLP is just this amazing show, and it's an amazing show. But an interesting story about relating to this whole thing is that this past semester I had to do a women and gender studies sort of little kind of write-ups every now and then for, like, movies and stuff, and so I decided to do Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks. And when I looked at it through the feminist perspective, I was able to find a lot of things that kind of, they go along very much with, like, a typical little girl show, but I was almost having trouble doing that because I've trained myself so much to not look at MLP that way. So does that mean that that the show technically is bad? No, but it does mean that we are ignoring sort of we are maybe ignoring certain aspects of it that we don't want to acknowledge. That's my understanding.
Hmm. So the way that people are enjoying the show is that it's good,
Yeah,
not because it's a girls' show, but like because we're ignoring that it's a girls' show.
I think that there's a part of it that is good and there's a part of it that is bad. And I think that at a certain point when you're watching the show, you start to ignore the bad and only look at the good. And so the show doesn't become you start to lose touch with that bad. You start to, because you're not acknowledging it, because you're not looking at it that much, all the bad elements that are for a little girl's show do maybe start to become a little less apparent. That's my, but like, I'm not saying that don't take this to mean that I'm saying that the show is bad. I'm saying that, like, we watch the show. We come into it with these very, I mean, for many people, low expectations, and then we see all this good as opposed to all the bad that we think we're going to see, and we end up, we end up watching the show so many times that we only see the bad. Now, there was bad when we first started watching the show. It's
So
just that
for people first starting to watch the show, good is relative.
yeah, it's all relative. Yeah, exactly. Because the bad of the show is very, relative to other girl shows. The bad in MLP is far lower than in an typical little girl show. But there is still that bad there. It's like 10% as opposed to being like 90%.
You haven't seen bad kids shows until you've watched the new Care Bears.
Yes, precisely. And I just kind of
it is awful.
And I just kind of feel like, there are different percentages of bad in each episode, that maybe some episodes go more along with the typical stereotype than do others. And I feel like when you watch MLP for so long and you really kind of digest this culture, you really start to maybe ignore that 10%, or maybe in an episode it's 30%. You start to ignore it. I hope that is a little bit more clear.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Next question. Is there a specific character you would like to see get more screen time or development in the coming seasons? It doesn't have to be contained to the main six.
Interesting question. A character that I would want to be given more screen time. I would say, that's a toughie. Because I definitely think that there are a lot of characters that need more screen time. There's one character who I think he's a character, I don't know if I'd say he needs more screen time, but I certainly would like it the most, I guess, if he had more screen time, is Discord. Because I love the direction that they've taken with this character. I'm interested in in what they can do with his character. I think having him be who he is and having him be reformed the way he was reformed makes him a very interesting character in relative to the other characters who have been reformed, maybe through the elements of harmony.
I'm glad they didn't reform I'm glad they didn't reform Discord through harmonic mind control.
Yes, precisely. Now I'm interested when they do it through harmonic mind control, but it's just interesting seeing Discord go through that reformation arc. I'm really kind of interested to see how he develops as a friend in season 5, because it's no secret, I don't like Three's a Crowd. I really just don't like it. I thought that episode was one of those episodes that really took Discord's character backwards, because it didn't show any of like the friend angle at all. It kind of showed that he, to me, was just interested in goofing off and messing with Twilight, and it just kind of seemed like they were bringing back his sort of full-on chaotic ways, and really didn't seem like that chaos was being balanced in any way. So that's, again, they can fail with Discord, but with what they did with him in the season 4 finale, oh man, I'm really pumped for what they did with him, because I really feel like they broke his character in that. Like they broke his character to the point where I think a serious change has happened in his friendship, like even more serious than it was under Fluttershy. So, I'm really interested to see that in season 5. What they do with it.
Everyone always says that in the season 4 finale, that like they always ask why the main 6 forgive him for what they did, for what he did. Sorry, but I don't want to say that they don't understand what's happening with Discord's character, or what happened when Critic betrayed him. That was him like learning how it feels to be betrayed by someone you trust, and it sucks. It's just completely, and that was such a big event that it just completely changed his. It just completely changed his. Well, not won't say completely changed his character, but it sort of did in a way.
Yeah, I think that prior to his reformation and in the season 4 finale, I'd say that his character, how he viewed friendship, was probably that the other person has to accept me first. Because that's how it happened with him and Fluttershy, is that technically speaking, that's how the friendship went along. He was being very chaotic, and at first Fluttershy accepted him until it reached a certain point. So that's how he learned about friendship. And I think that he was almost to in that sort of state of mind where, because the main 6 weren't accepting him, they weren't friends. They weren't friend worthy, I guess is the way to put it. So I feel like now, with what he did with what he went through with Tyrek, I think that it's maybe a different understanding of what it means to be a friend. I think that it has to do less with it has to do less with acceptance and more with, or that his view of acceptance has changed, whereas before you had to accept him with open arms completely, as does Fluttershy, but after being betrayed, he might be more open to a sort of acceptance from the main 6, which is more, it doesn't accept him as much, but it's not betraying him, which is better. They'll stick with him through thick and thin, and I think that that's maybe the type of friendship that that's why he's become reformed, is that he's acknowledged that that is what friendship is, as opposed to what Fluttershy kind of reformed him as. He was incomplete, I'd say, with Fluttershy.
Right. Because I think the reason why Discord was so chaotic, like before the season 2 opener, like the 1,000 years ago when he was trapped in stone, he didn't know anything about friendship. He hadn't experienced it, and then Keep Calm and Flutter On, he experiences it, and he doesn't want to give that up. He likes it. So I think it's not so much. I think his character is not so much compromising to fit within the pony's rules because he has to, or he'll get turned to stone. But he wants to. Well,
yeah, precisely. And I think that now more than ever, he really wants to. because of what happened in the season 4 finale. I think that he wants to reform to maybe an even greater extent.
Hmm.
And I like that. I rejoice that, because I've never really liked Discord before his reformation. I was kind of bored with him because he was a character who I thought was interesting conceptually, but the on-time screen play, everything he did on the screen, kind of baked it, milked it for too long. I know that he's the god of chaos and everything, but from what I could tell, he was just someone who did sort of short-term messing with people. I don't think of him as a long-term planner. I guess maybe what he did in Keep Calm and Flutter On was long-term, but I mean, it all happened in like one afternoon. I don't know if it's completely long-term. I think it's pretty short-term. And what ended up happening ultimately didn't work. Fluttershy ended up performing him, and his whole, I guess you could say, long-term plan in that episode was ended up being a failure. Didn't work.
I'm trying to check to see if I've actually done a review of that episode. No, I don't think I have. Huh. Alright. I'll have to get on that at some point.
Yeah.
I actually like that episode. No, wait. Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Same here.
Alright. Well, next question.
Alright.
If you woke up in Ponyville as your OC, your character, what's the first thing you would do? I should mention some of these questions were pulled from, that Q&A Digi did a while back.
So is this asking me what my character would be like, or what I would do as my character?
You are you, but you would be in
in
the body of your character.
Okay, so I'd say, I mean, I'm gonna skip past the what the fuck is going on moment and go on, or the I'm sorry, what is going on moment, and I'm just gonna say maybe I would be like I haven't really thought about a question like this, but I guess I'd go like to a library and just kind of read up on the history of Equestria, because if I was actually there, I would actually have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the shortest answer I'm gonna have to probably give, because I don't have an answer. I don't really have any answer for that.
Right, well, what is it that motivates you to review or, well, analyse My Little Pony, and why did you want to start being more involved in this community?
Well, I'd say that my drive to make videos and to be a part of it, I don't think it's really ever been very big. I mean, my the minimum amount of the shortage of videos that you can find on my channel sort of confirms that. But I joined mainly because I was, I started making my channel, I think, when season 3 was going on, and like in the very, very old heyday of pony analysis. So that was kind of, I was interested in being a part of that conversation. I thought it was really interesting. That's when, I was coming into contact with Tommy Oliver and Digibrony, and they were kind of new to the scene, the Brony community. And what really kind of hit me off was after my Magical Mystery Cure video. That was after my Magical Mystery Cure video. I didn't really do that much content, but it kind of got me thinking more about doing content because Digi loved it. Digi was like, I would I would have done a Magical Mystery Cure video, but past analysis beat me to it, and it took me a long time to basically start doing analysis after that. But then after that, I guess I got into more of a groove with season 4. I made probably the most videos I've ever made during the season 4 time span. And right now I'm just kind of in a state of I'm trying to discover what I want to do. I have ideas, but I'm very critical to like what I want to release. Right now I'm kind of thinking that whatever I release on my channel, it has to involve me somehow, because I think that that's the foolproof way of making whatever you say new. Because I feel like there's a huge problem right now in the analysis community where people don't really say anything new, that the general discussion has kind of been limited to the same ideas sort of being repeated, and I don't want to be a part of that.
So really,
I really don't. So
so really, the analysis community has just become some sort of an echo chamber of the same ideas.
Yes, very much so. But it's an echo chamber. In my opinion, it's an echo chamber unlike what I see in academia, where it's like an echo chamber where you purposely cite people and you purposely sort of you're citing them, you're referencing them, you're showing that you do sort of maybe unintentionally you're doing something that's very clearly going to lead to an echo chamber. Whereas with the MOP analysis community, I think it's more the other way around. I think it's that people don't really they don't really think about the overall. I think they think more about their own channel. Like you want to, they think that their audience comes to hear what they have to say, and if they're almost kind of like not even, it's kind of like tunnel vision. They're not looking on the side seeing that everyone else is kind of doing the same thing. They're looking more at what they're doing. And I mean, there's an audience for that, of course. It's just I'm not one of those audience members. I'm not someone who can really enjoy that. What I'm basically thinking about for the future is I'm thinking about, I've got plenty of ideas that relate to me, like for example why I love Sons of Shimmer and why I love Hearthwarming Eve and stuff that's a huge long explanation, very personal. I'm going to be relating a lot of my real life sort of experiences, trying to get in maybe references to history, like real life history, and like what I learned and how it relates to MLP and all sorts of stuff like that, kind of really making it something that no one else can really copy it, because it's me. No one can do me more than me.
If only I could make such interesting videos. I'm probably one of those types that just not always do what other people do, but more or less. And
I mean, really, I don't think that anyone should judge themselves by my standard. My standard is I got pretty high standards, and I think that whenever you make a channel, whenever you do any type of video, it's always about like what your vision for that channel is. This is why I never really get on analysts' backs who I think consistently don't do videos that I like. Like, I mean, KP is one of them. I'm not a huge fan of what she does, but like she's doing what she wants to do. I don't have a problem with that. I may go to her videos every now and then to see if there's something good, because I don't like to assume that just because someone has consistently done videos that are of low quality for me means that they will always do low quality videos. But I kind of don't really get on their case, because it's not my I don't think it's my territory. It's not my room to decide what KP makes or what Dr. Wolf makes or what any other analyst makes.
Mm-hmm.
Though I know it can seem like that when I'm getting on my high horse, fun, about my version of what I want, but that's just me complaining as a consumer. That's
Mm-hmm.
nothing. That's nothing more.
All right. Well, next question. What is your favorite subsection of the What is your favorite subsection of the MLP community? Like, we've got artists, writers, reviewers, music creators. We've basically got an entire studio of people.
See, I have an answer to that, and my answer would probably be the best part of the analysis community to me would probably have to be the music part, the music sub part, because they're consistently making really good stuff. And I've seen this throughout my entire time as a brony. They're very consistent. Someone's always coming up to the mantle. Someone's always making something good. It's not really something that I think has been dry. I mean, maybe it's not as good as it was in other years, but to me it's really good. I enjoy it. I think that for the amount of stuff that is made and the amount of work that gets put into each of the things that's made, it's really, it's the best part of the fandom for me. But there's a silver. There's a. Let me complicate this a little bit. I don't think that the music community is the community with the most potential. I think that the analysis community is the community with the most potential, because I think that the analysis community is the one where the most deep thought can be generated. I think that it's the one where a real discussion can really be kind of take place. So yeah, no, I definitely say it's the one with the most potential. See, I'm kind of dripping into the fan fiction a little bit, because I do have quite a little bit of fan fiction ideas, and something that I think would help the analysis community a lot to actually achieve its potential is for there to be more of a discussion within it. I feel like we all do our collabs. We of course have tons of them, and we of course talk in the comment sections. But I don't think that we're like looking at a very at the analysis community very holistically. I think that we're looking at it. We have our little niches within the analysis community, our little sub parts. We only have collabs with certain people. And I just kind of feel like if there was more of if everyone in the analysis community was more paying attention to the overall whole, what is holistically being made, then I feel like there might be more of a discussion. Because one thing I remember very early on when Give and Take started doing videos was he would reference all sorts of different analysts. I mean, of course he had to stop it because the drawing didn't work, but I thought that the idea of taking a video and making adding to the discussion by referencing all sorts of different analysts, I think that's a really cool idea, and I think that I would love to watch videos that reference more analysts, because sometimes I feel like we kind of have a back and forth with certain ideas. Like, for example, is Discord Star Swirl? That idea has been getting tossed around back and forth. People say, no, he is. They cite sort of the same reasons. Then a different group says, no, he isn't, and they cite sort of the same reasons, and it seems kind of like a standstill, like nothing new is being generated. And I think that if you do pay attention to it in an overall sort of discussion sense, as opposed to just one's channel, and this is, again, me speaking as a consumer, then I think you will want to maybe pull out more stuff that because everyone has something that no one else has. Everyone has that. And I think that if people were to look more at the analysis community holistically, they would know more, okay, what do I have that I know doesn't really, it's not the same as the overall group. And if that happened, I think that it would be enriching, because you would learn so much about people. You would think on a much deeper scale. And Digi sort of did that, I think, with his season 4 diary. He would make, like, I remember what he did for his, like, It Ain't Easy Being Breezy's video, was he talked about, like, his opinion on our generation and, like, how this episode relates to them. And I thought it was really interesting because, Digi's whole take on his generation, it was very personal. He mentioned personal things in his life, and as a consumer, I really like it, and I think that everyone has that potential. Everyone can do that. In fact, KP's one video that I really loved was when she explained long ago why she named her channel I Love Kim Possible a Lot. I loved it because it was so personal. No one can say why they made their channel I Love Kim Possible a Lot other than I love Kim Possible a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, music, I'd say for consistency, the best subgroup is the music community, and for potential, the analysis community.
Well, for the entire time I've been trying to come up with some sort of a joke question to end it on, but, well, I can't think of anything. So, thank you for joining me for the interview.
Oh yeah, no problem. I had fun.
It's been very interesting talking to you.
Yeah, thanks. I had fun too.
If you'd like to go and check out his channel, it will be in the description. As always, I'm the Ponyville Critic.
I'm Past Analysis.
And thank you for listening.